Love, Lost, Rebirth, Alive. Blue Dolphins. The novel. By Makāula Nakae. Chapter 3, Night of the Party. Episode 10, Ka Papa, Reef. On Saturday afternoon, Hanalei sat alone on a somewhat crowded stretch of sand. The routine had been broken. Jim was anchored to his salon until the evening, leaving Hanalei to face the water without his usual navigator. He contemplated a solo swim, but the warmth of the sun was a persuasive weight, pinning him to the beach. He gazed blankly at the white foam crashing over the distant reef line, watching the silhouettes of local surfers as they paddled out to the lineup, waiting for the ocean's permission to ride. "Hey, how's it going?" Hanalei turned to see a solidly built man in his mid-30s looking down at him. He had short, concise black hair and a shadow of stubble that gave him a rugged, grounded look. Through his blue-tinted sunglasses, Hanalei offered a polite smile and shook the man's hand. The man introduced himself as Stephen. Hanalei noted his features, strong and distinct, perhaps of Jewish descent, and a physique that suggested he was no stranger to the water. "I saw you and your friend swimming out past the reef last week," Stephen said, gestured toward the horizon. "I thought maybe I could join you sometime. It's pretty boring swimming here alone." Stephen explained that he kept his endurance up by swimming at a YMCA with an outdoor pool in a downtown suburb 3 times a week, but the pool couldn't match the unpredictability of the Pacific. "Yeah, swimming alone here can get pretty dull," Hanalei agreed, even with the tropical fish for company. He asked if Stephen had already done his laps for the day. "I started before you even arrived," Stephen explained with a shrug. "I live on the other side of the island, so I try to get in early and leave before the highway turns into a parking lot." Hanalei nodded, understanding the logistics of island time. He shared the schedule he and Jim usually kept: Sunday mornings and the evenings of Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. He suggested they coordinate for the following weekend. "I can't make it tomorrow, but next Sunday morning works for me," Stephen agreed. They exchanged numbers, a practical insurance policy against Jim's fluctuating salon schedule. Stephen gave a casual wave and headed toward the parking lot, leaving Hanalei with a curious thought. Somehow, I've made another swimming friend. The brief social interaction seemed to break Hanalei's lethargy. He watched the men playing in the frothy waves at the water's edge for a moment, then casually pulled his goggles over his eyes. He stood up, weaved through the maze of bodies tanning on the sand, and dove into the cool, clear sea, leaving the complications of the land behind. The following Thursday morning, the beach was a sanctuary of quiet. The only other soul present was Dennis, an elderly snowbird performing slow, deliberate Tai Chi movements at the water's edge. In the winter rainy season, the morning bite in the air kept the tourists in their hotel beds, leaving the sand to the migratory locals and the early risers. Dennis was the picture of relaxed retirement: red shorts, dark lenses, and a large white seashell necklace that rattled softly as he moved. He happily agreed to watch their gear, and they tucked their bags under his pastel umbrella before heading to the shoreline. The tide was exceptionally low. The protective reef, usually a submerged mystery, was now a visible landscape of jagged black rock and exposed coral heads. Swimming out to the open sea was a death wish for their skin, so they opted for 3 long laps within the inner channel, moving between the breakwater and the natatorium wall. The water was chilly, but the clarity was breathtaking. As they glided through the shallows, the underwater world revealed itself in high definition. The unofficial state fish, the humuhumunukunukuapua'a, darted between rocks with its characteristic yellow and black geometry. Halfway through their lap, the terrain shifted dramatically. The rugged seaweed-draped coral gave way to a vast, shimmering desert of white sand, and the depth plummeted. In the deep blue, clouds of tropical fish swirled around them. This was the joy of swimming with a partner like Jim. The shared discovery turned a grueling physical task into an adventure. "Hanalei, come here." Jim's head popped up. "There's a moray eel. Hanalei took a lung-filling breath and dove. Near the base of a porous white coral head, he spotted it. A brown moray with purple spots, its head swaying rhythmically from a dark crevice. He hovered as close as he dared, captivated by the creature's prehistoric gaze, before his lungs forced him back to the silver surface. "Good find," Hanalei panted, impressed. "You've got a sharp eye. When you spend this much time in the water, you start to see everything," Jim said, floating effortlessly. "Speaking of which, are you doing the Waikīkī Roughwater swim on Labor Day?" The question caught Hanalei off guard. Labor Day usually meant one thing: Burning Man. The desert. The dust. The art. The memory of Kevin's hand in his as they watched the effigy burn. "I was thinking of going to the Nevada desert," Hanalei said vaguely. He didn't mention the white urn on his kitchen counter or the friends who expected him back at Black Rock City. Going back alone felt like stepping into a ghost story, yet staying here felt like abandoning a ritual. "What's in a desert? Just sand and heat," Jim countered with his usual bluntness. "Join the race. It's a challenge, and I promise you'll love the rush." Hanalei looked out at the horizon. The choice felt symbolic: return to the dry, dusty memories of his past, or dive headfirst into a new, salt-soaked future with this exuberant friend who knew nothing of his scars. "I'll seriously consider it," he promised. After their cold shower, the conversation shifted to the immediate future. "What are you doing tonight?" Jim asked. "Don't forget Coco's dinner party." Hanalei felt a cold prickle of anxiety. He remembered the way she had fled the club, the raw pain she had mirrored back at him. "Is she okay?" he asked, his voice low. "What do you mean?" Jim looked genuinely confused. He had been so wrapped up in his Los Angeles tourist that night that the psychic drama had completely passed him by. "She's the one who invited you. Why wouldn't she be fine?" Hanalei looked at Jim's innocent, puzzled expression and realized that, for now, he was the only one carrying the weight of that night's revelations. To be continued. Swim and listen to the historical gay drama in the center of the Pacific. We are releasing a brand new episode every single day until the epic conclusion of the story. Each chapter delivers a tight, hyper-focused 15 to 45-minute hit of cinematic historical drama set in the tropical islands of Hawaii, the perfect daily plunge into the shattered world a millennium after 9/11. Watch the cinematic video trailer. Listen to the full novel now. Bookmark Blue Dolphins. The novel playlist, A Great Argead Saga, Alexine, Volume 1, Talesius Playlist, Volume 2, Sacred Band Playlist, and Divine Oracle. Unwritten words behind my novel playlist. Subscribe to follow the waves and currents of Forbidden Paradise love tales. Comment below.